75 and a half hours, but who's counting? Welcome in, everybody. Happy Thursday. We are getting there. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
I like the calmness in your voice in which you just delivered that bit of information. Usually the octave range is a lot higher. I am proud of you right now.
I'm doing good.
10 minutes from now, hour from now, I don't know. But right now, I'm proud of you.
I've been good today. I have not driven myself crazy like I have the last couple of days, in part because we have a monster show today, Derek. It makes me feel really good. We have Jeff McLane in a matter of seconds. We have Mike Sealski. We have Matt Lombardo. We have Brad Feinberg. We're going to have all kinds of activity from Arizona. So without further ado, we'll bring up the man himself, Eagles beat reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, still repping the prep, even in Arizona.
Look at him.
You got to respect that, man. You got to respect that he's still bringing it out there to the desert. What's up, Jeff?
This is the no shower prep hat wearing.
Don't reveal too many secrets, Jeff. This is the no shower happy hour portion of the program.
You can't see my sloppy room. And
Yes.
I tilted the camera a little bit.
Good work. Good work. That's a season pro move right there.
Hey, Jeff, you know what? Isn't it nice to be in a hotel room sometimes and you can keep it as messy as you want and no wife telling you, can you pick this up? This is terrible. Isn't that nice?
Actually, it's the opposite of my house. I'm the neat one.
Are you really? Oh, my goodness.
All right. Well, that's
Wow.
good. We're learning. We're learning a lot about Jeff today. Well, listen, man, your pieces really all week and last week as well have been awesome. Just flat out awesome.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's nice to hear it. I wish my place appreciated it a little more. I'm kidding.
You sound like every guy in the business.
I know, man.
No news is there's never any good news. You only hear from people when it's bad news generally. But,
I hate to bring up shop dirt, Jeff, but it's so true, man. You know what? You bust your hump, and the accolades you get from within the structure is like, okay. What else? What else you got? What else you got?
And what about tomorrow?
No. I mean, it's enough just to be able to cover the team. I feel honored and to be out here and to do work. And so, obviously I'm just semi teasing. I don't think whatever. But I appreciate the accolades, guys. It's a lot of times it's only those of us who are in it that get it, right? And you guys know how it is.
Yeah.
We've all been grinding this sports, this sports
Life.
thing for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Talk Eagles.
All right. Let's hit a couple things. Jeff, I know you chronicled this. Give us a little insight to Lane Johnson and just the process and what this guy's going through to be out there and do what he's doing at still an incredibly high level, and we've seen what he's done thus far through the playoffs. He's got a big challenge in front of him, obviously, on Sunday. But just talk to us a little bit about where he's at and what he's going through just to be able to get out there and play the way he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously this is something that you guys all well as know as anybody how tough Lane is, and tough. It's like easy to say, and it's something that becomes like almost a cliche when you talk about athletes playing through injuries and stuff like that. And each has their own story, And in Lane's instance, we all know the ankle thing that he'd been playing for a long time, which played a part in why he left the team in 2021. Obviously, on top of the fact that he tried to wean himself off antidepressants. And his depression and his frustration with the sport. He was very close to quitting. That's all part of Lane's story. But I feel like my job a lot of times is to humanize these guys. I want to see what's behind, this, as I wrote in the story about Lane, these modern day gladiators. There's more to it than just these guys being out there on the field and playing through injury, or let's say if you're a fan, you get frustrated with them and you just see them as just kind of like pieces in a game. And, Lane was nice enough to invite me to go to his bro barn last week and talk to his mom about her plight. She's dealing with cancer right now for stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. I mean, she's not getting treated because she doesn't need to. And then we all know about Lane and everything that he's had to go through off the field as well. So so this is, there's a human element to this. And on top of that, here's this guy playing through this torn tendon in his groin. And he's done now for 2 games, and he still hasn't given up a sack. This is now 30 games straight. And, he's still going to be playing through it in the Super Bowl. It's something that can't be fixed until he has surgery after the season. And good news for him is that he was feeling better, he said, in the 49ers game. And then I was over his house last week and he was going through, he said he was feeling better then. And plus you get the extra week. So, I mean, I can't imagine he's not going to be the lane that we normally are accustomed to.
Jeff, here's the one thing that I bring up occasionally about Lane Johnson. You know, you have to mentally fight the battle every day to get up and to practice at your best, and then to go out and play at your best and to fight through pains at your best. But yet he's still battling one aspect of his life that will never go away, and that's the depression.
Yeah.
And the fact that you know, Brian Dawkins has chronicled that so well about here's Dawkins approaching 50. He still battles it, but he's found a way to defeat it. And you look at Lane, and you know, I don't think a lot of people realize how many games he's missed in his career because of that, or how many practices that aren't even mentioned because of that. But yet here he is today at the pinnacle of his profession. I think that's as incredible of a story, if not more so than anything else he's gone through. The fact that he's out there, and you just said it perfectly, 30 consecutive games without giving up a sack, playing with a torn groin, and the story that has been kind of putting on the back page that he still battles depression to be the best that he can possibly be.
Yeah. And right. He goes out there and does it in spite of all this. And, you know, as you mentioned, 30 straight sacks. And for some years, he's kind of been looked over in terms of some of the accolades because he played right tackle.
Yep.
He's finally getting, I hate to use the word respect, but he's finally kind of getting mentioned in that class. Mm-hmm. And in fact, you know, one of the good things that we can do as journalists is shine light on some maybe guys who aren't being, you know, looked upon as favorably as they should be. And that's sometimes on the margins, and that's sometimes even these great guys. And, you know, you know, the Hall of Fame vote is tonight. And so all the voters are here. And I know a bunch of these guys. And we're just kind of feeling a few of the guys out about Lane's chances of the Hall of Fame. And, you know, he's still got more. You know, he says at least he's going to play 2 more years. Mm-hmm. And a few of them I spoke to said, I think he's already in. Mm-hmm. And I was surprised by that not because I don't think he belongs in it, because I just felt like maybe the national rep wasn't quite there. But I think that these last few years, people are starting to finally realize that this guy, to me, Trent Williams and him are the 2 best tackles in the NFL right now. And they've been that way it's been like that for like the last 5 years. And if you're the top of your position for that long of a period, you're pretty much a Hall of Famer. And we got 2 of them on the Eagles with Jason Kelce.
Yeah, you're right. And far too often we throw right tackle when we're talking about best in the game. To me, he's the best tackle in the game, period. That's just me. Speaking of Kelce, what's your sense here, Jeff? I know he was asked the question point blank, and he said one game's not going to dictate whether I come back or not. But I mean, if you win this thing, you got 2 and 5 years. You're in all of our opinions in the Hall of Fame already. You're at the peak of your game. You've done well financially. What's left to prove? What's your sense of where he's at, just in terms of wanting to keep doing this?
Yeah. So, I mean, I spoke to him last week. I mean, I'm always talking to Kelce, so kind of always trying to feel him out. Spoke to him about this last week, and I did a story today about kind of like, you know, post football Kelce and how that he's already branded himself. He's got the podcast. He's got so many ventures that he can touch and make $1 million off of. He's been very judicious about how he's approached that, but it's also very daunting to him because he doesn't know quite what he wants to do. And when you're playing at the top of your game and you're playing on a team that's in the Super Bowl and you love your teammates still, and as his mom told me the other day, she doesn't think he's going to retire because she said this is the most fun he's had in his career.
Yeah.
Why retire? Now he could certainly do it. He could feel a certain way in several weeks and know it. You know, I mean, obviously your body will tell you probably more than anything whether you want to keep playing. My sense, just based upon talking to her, to him, to a lot of guys around him, is that I'm thinking he's leaning on returning again. Mm. Again, another first-team All-Pro. He may actually be playing his best football in his 12th year.
That's crazy.
That does not happen at that position typically. No. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out with Kelce, but he has said, you know, the Super Bowl will have no bearing on it. And I believe him when he says that.
So Jeff, give us the latest update on Avonte Maddox. You know, he's in the boot one day, then we hear that he's not in the boot. What's your perspective on it?
I think full systems go. Now he's been limited at practice, but from my understanding that he'll be able to play.
How much of practice are you guys able to see? And if it's not much, that's what I was going to get. How frustrating is it? I know you guys have pool reporters.
For those listening, Jeff just gave us the zero sign.
Yeah. And how frustrating is that? Because you, as someone who's covers this team every day, you know these guys. The coaches know you, but it's like you're treated as a foreigner in the grandest moment of the season, and it goes across the board for all you writers and stuff like and TV people who cover the team. That's got to be frustrating. It frustrated the heck out of me in the Super Bowls I covered.
Gunner's trying to get me to flip off.
No,
pop off.
No,
because honestly, practices are so short for the Eagles now. It's
Right.
like we almost don't miss anything nowadays. You go in, you see the stretches, and then they'll go do some things here and there. So I mean, during the season, we don't get to see a lot of it anyway.
Right.
I mean, it's nice to see, just to see it and to be out there and of course be able to chronicle who's up and who's down, et cetera. Yeah, so they have a pool reporter for each team, and they're usually typically national writers that get chosen. And I've talked to both. I know both personally, and of course the Eagles one was coming up to me asking me, "Oh, what should I look out for? This, that, or the other thing." But so these reports that they put out, the teams get to look at them and basically with a red pen cross off whatever they want because they get to go for the whole practice, which is something you can't do during the season.
Right.
But for the Super Bowl, they allow it for one reporter, but they don't allow you to report anything you see. So basically, these reports have been about like the musical choices at the practices. I mean, they're totally pointless.
Not that you're bitter. Not that you're bitter.
No, not that I'm bitter. I just understand the point of having these.
I hear you. I'm kidding.
I agree. I agree.
Like we understand not to write about scheme and write about plays and stuff like that. So it's all nonsense, and coaches have now taken this all way too seriously, and they fear so much. I mean, even when you talk to them, and even when I'm talking them off the record, or they're so fearful of revealing anything about their game plans, which I understand. I totally get it.
But we know how the Eagles PR staff is too. No.
Right, they always have a red pen.
Yeah. Let me ask you about confidence, because I think you probably got it last week when you were here, but I'll tell you, man, I think the fans are overly confident when it comes to the Eagles winning this game. I think this is going to be a really difficult game on a lot of levels for obvious reasons. Mahomes, Andy Reid, etc. Kansas City rarely ever loses to the NFC. What is your sense of the team itself in terms of where they're at going into this thing?
Yeah, I sense that too. I mean, I'm not a huge radio listener, but just from people talking to people that I've been around, and friends that I know, and yeah, I mean, this is like very un-Philadelphia-like to have this amount of confidence going into a game. I mean, look, they're a really good team. They're one of the top two teams. The top two teams are in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I think you can make a case for the Bengals being one of the top two as well. So I agree with you. I think this is going – I just keep looking at it as a toss-up. I think the Eagles have the deeper team. Mm-hmm. I think they have the strength. They have the advantages on both lines, probably. A slight one, Eagles offensive line versus their defensive line. I think a little more significant one on the Eagles defensive line versus their offensive line. Mm-hmm. But they have Patrick Mahomes, and he's the great equalizer. Mm-hmm. And the Eagles have not faced not only a team this good all season, and that's not their fault, but they haven't faced a quarterback quite like Pat Mahomes all season. Mm-mm. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean they can't beat him. I'm just saying that, it'll be interesting to see how they approach that. There were only now I would say there's like 6 elite guys in the league at that position. So it's not like, they didn't see Burrow, they didn't see Herbert, they didn't see Allen. Hurts, I think, belongs in that conversation. They can't see him. He's, and Lamar Jackson's been hurt. Those would be the guys I would point out. And now they're seeing Mahomes. And like a blowout, really? I mean, like the only 3 games that the Chiefs have lost this year, they've lost by 3 or 4 points or so.
Yeah, it's like 10 points for 3 losses combined.
Yep. And I know how the Chiefs played in that Super Bowl a couple years ago when they lost to the Bucs, but they have a much better offensive line. That was all on the offensive line.
Yeah.
So that being said, I don't want to play down anything. I think the Eagles. I'm kind of leaning towards picking the Eagles. I haven't decided yet where I'm going. Because I think that the Eagles' offensive versatility is just going to give that defense, Steve Spagnuolo, that secondary specifically, some trouble.
Hey, Jeff, you've known Andy as long as I have, and I've said I think this is Andy's finest coaching job. When you look at how this roster was put together, the abundance of rookie, first round, second round players that have contributed all the way through this thing. And the Kansas City Chiefs organization has admitted this was a rebuilding year, not retooling. This was a rebuilding year for us. And the fact that they've won as many games as this dominant Eagles team and their playoff competition, let's face it, was much stiffer competition than what the Eagles face. I think when you stack up, and even Andy's Super Bowl win, when you stack up all the big games and all the seasons he's at, I think this has been his finest coaching job as a head coach with this particular roster.
I mean, you're right. You lost Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and the pass offense didn't miss a step.
No.
They added a rookie running back that, it seems like every time Andy seems to find these guys later in the draft. He's a hard runner. Defensively, you've remade the secondary and got some talented guys. Now they're young, and I think the Eagles have advantages there on the outside with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. And then you've had injuries at the wide receiver position. They're going to be down at least one receiver, right?
Yep.
Recall Hardman's going to be out.
Yep.
And there's a couple other guys that are not 100%. And they, and it obviously, like we said, Mahomes makes Andy a lot better, but I think Andy's offense makes Mahomes better too. I mean, Andy is still, to me, one of the top play callers in the league, if maybe even the best. The imagination. I mean, he's going to have something that we haven't seen all season that will probably produce a big play. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it early because he's going to want to come out early. Look, I mean, you say this about any team, but I think there's added incentive for the Chiefs to maybe even if they win the flip, to not defer, take the ball and try and get out ahead of this team. Because if the Eagles get a 10, 14-point lead, that just plays right into that offensive line,
run the ball,
turn it out on the ground. Jalen Hurts +1 in the run game. That really plays to their benefit.
Absolutely.
Jeff, you can put your finger on one. You nailed a couple right there, but you put your finger on one thing where the Eagles have the biggest advantage, or an area that Kansas City could really struggle with the Eagles. What would it be?
Well, I guess I got to go back to that pass rush.
Okay.
To me, it's the depth. Not only do they have talent at the top with Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat, and you got Fletcher, who's still playing at a pretty good level, Javon Hargrave in the inside, but then you throw that second line at him, and you have Brandon Graham. You have Milton Williams, who I think has been playing pretty darn well.
Oh, yeah.
You got Ndamukong Suh, who knocked out a quarterback just a week ago.
Linval Joseph. Yeah.
Linval Joseph, who's, mostly run guy, but occasionally. And so they can just come at you with waves. And I know the Chiefs' offensive line is much improved. They have some really good guys. They do have a weak link at the right tackle spot. And I think that's, I think Reddick could have another big game.
All right, Gunnar, you got one more. We got to let Jeff roll. If not.
So what is the one thing? This is non-football. I love getting away from X's and O's. What's the one thing? What's the one thing that you want to do? Now, I've been to Phoenix many times. My brother lives there. But what was the one thing on your bucket list that you want to do while you're out there, away from football?
I've been here a lot over the years because the owners' meetings always seem to be here, or at least every other year. And this is my second Super Bowl here. Eagles seem to come out here all the time. But I haven't been to the Waste Management Open, the golf tournament.
Okay.
And I think I may be able to score some tickets tomorrow and squeeze in, maybe head to the 16th. I think the 16th hole tickets are separate than everything else. So maybe I won't be able to throw beer. And
that's where you want to be, man.
I know. Honestly, I'm a huge golf guy. As you guys can see, my son plays for the prep team. And I would just love just walking around and seeing, I love it. Whenever a tournament comes to Philadelphia, I've been to U.S. Opens and other venues as well outside of Philadelphia. I always go. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. I would love to cover golf too. I mean, if anyone's looking for a golf writer.
I think we need to put Jeff on the couch. There's a lot going on here. We need to dig a little bit deeper. But Jeff, listen, man, keep killing it. You're doing a great job. We appreciate you. Yes, we here at Sports Take appreciate you. We appreciate
Thanks,
you
guys.
giving us a couple minutes, man. Enjoy yourself.
All right. Yeah. Enjoy the game, guys.
Enjoy it, man.
All right, brother.
Take care.
Jeff McLane, kind enough to hop on there, and you can check him out. By the way, Gunner too. Always tell people, he's a must read because he is an old school reporter in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
Like, go to Twitter at Jeff_McLane and inquire.com. He's not afraid to ruffle feathers. He will go after anybody and everybody. So that's for sure.
I've seen it firsthand.
Look who the cat drug in. What? Whoa. Who's this guy?
You got jet lag or
You
what?
want to introduce yourself to us?